So yeah, let's just do a quick review. We need to implement a method that takes in a list of numbers, and the index of the list corresponds to a day. And we have to determine what indices return the highest profit. So let's get into it. So let's write some pseudocode. What's the first thing I need to do?
Yeah, create a function that takes in
Takes in an array. Okay.
Create a method to loop through the array in only one direction.
So I need to loop through the array, starting at index 0, right? Should be one direction.
I would nest a loop that would go through the array at
Create another loop. That's what it's a nested loop.
a nested loop that iterates through the array at
The array.
whatever. Basically, I would call the first one I. The second one would be I plus 1.
All right, loop through an array starting at index. Let's do I. So I'm going to create a method that takes in an array. I'm going to loop through the array starting at index I. Then within that loop, I'm going to create another loop that iterates through the array at index
J. So we'll call it J,
which is index I plus 1.
Also, we should create some variables to actually.
So we need to create some variables. Where should we create these variables at?
Before the loops.
We're going to create a couple of variables before the loops.
Yeah. First one, maybe I just call mine like profit or
All right, it's called
highest profit.
Create a variable called profit.
Profit or highest profit, just to keep count.
Yeah.
Keep track of it.
All right, highest. Highest profit.
And then you also
Create a variable to hold the indices. How do you say it?
ICS.
Yeah. Cool. So within my second nested loop, I got to compare.
Compare the value at the indices.
If price at I is representing by the first loop's index. It's price at I. What's that? Price at I.
Greater than,
well, the difference between the price of I and the price.
All right. If the price at I plus 1 minus I is what?
greater than your highest profit.
Is greater than the highest profit, then what?
highest
Then
profit
replace-
is equal to.
And replace
The profit
the highest
and indices.
profit with the new
Difference.
with the difference, with the new difference, with I guess I plus 1 minus I, and then what?
One thing you need to be careful of, and I'm not sure how other people do it, one thing you want to make sure is that your I always comes before your I plus 1, so you're not buying back in time.
Right.
Or selling back in time.
Yeah. So this for loop kind of does that.
Is that how you, okay.
This I will stay essentially will like equal 1 the entire time that this is going to I plus 1, I plus 2, 3, 4. So this is just starting at I. Starting at I. All right.
Instead of writing I plus 1 minus I all the time, can you just set it to a variable?
Yes. So in the starting index is I plus 1. But yes, you can always set it to another variable.
As far as JJ.
Yeah. So when we get into the actual coding part, we'll see.
Yeah, so if the price is greater than highest profit, then replace the highest profit with I plus 1 minus 1.
Else and
You have to
yeah, indices is equal to an array of I, comma, I plus 1.
and the new indices equals the I, comma, whatever J.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Okay. All right. That should do it. And then after you loop through everything, you loop through the array and check all values, all combinations. Return the, cool, let's get started. See if it works. So take some prices, I'm gonna we should call it profit, equals 0. And let buying index. So we don't actually have to declare what type of variable buying index is initially. We could just assign it as an empty array. But in JavaScript, you don't necessarily have to assign it anything. All right, so right here, we're looping through the array starting at index 1. So for let I equals 0, and then what? I is prices dot length. Then we're gonna increment I plus plus. And then I'm gonna do a test by. I don't know if it's necessary, but then I'm gonna do the other for loop. Let J equals I plus 1, because when we start at the index 0, we don't want to start at 0 here. We want to start at I, which is 0, I plus 1, which is 1. Oh. And then J is less than prices at length, and J plus plus. And then if we do this if statement, if prices at J minus prices at Y, or I, sorry, is greater than the test by.
Greater than outside of parentheses?
No.
Yeah, it's part of it.
If this is essentially like just a double if, don't necessarily need. We're going to assign profit equals test by. And we're also doing the buying index equals I comma J. Buying index equals I comma J.
Maybe where do you define?
Return buying index is based off of after everything we loop through everything. After we loop through the array and check all combinations, we're going to just return the buying index. let's just want to run buying index or picker with some of the test variables. Is it called stock picker or is it just called picker? So I came here, I'm grabbing these test input. And since this is in Python, whoop. Let's run this code. Hopefully it worked. Oh, what won't it do?
Console.
There we go. Got the console log. I don't want to embed right now. Embed is specific to Python.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot.
I'm going to node stockpicker.js. Undefined. What happened?
Where are you typing in your test file?
Oh, test by is going to keep rolling.
This file is only going to be 0.
Yeah, test by is always going to roll since
Profit equals just by.
Oh, yeah.
Profit at.
So, yep. So, test by equals. That's why. Now let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Anybody see how that works? Turns 1 and 4. So buying profit 0, we're just declaring a variable buying index. Initializing our first for loop, which starts right there, which starts at picker at index 0. Doing a test by, it's not necessarily, but I like to see what I'm buying first. And then the second for loop is I plus 1, which starts there. So it's doing 17, or yeah, 3 minus 17. Right here, 3 minus 17 is greater than test by. It is. And then we'll assign it here. And then it's essentially staying at 17. Then looking at 6 minus 17, 9 minus 17, 15 minus 17, 8 minus 17, 6 minus 17, 1 minus 17, 10 minus 17, and then it moves on to 3. 3 and j equals I plus 1, so it's looking at index 1 plus 1, so now it's starting at, again, 6 minus 3, 9 minus 3, it's looping through there. So I need to put some console logs to see what the buying profit looks like throughout. To run this. Oh, yep. Gotta put this in the loop. Let's do it down here. Profit 3, it's first time 6, and then 12, then
12 minutes.
and yeah, then that's the index as well. We can look at the indices as well. I'm going to print out the buying index. But first it's 1, 2, 1, 3, then yeah. Any questions? What questions? What something that you want me to go over?
So, is there a reason why we're doing this without test-driven development?
Just so you guys can see the answer right away.
So, assuming there were no test cases, like,
There aren't currently.
alright, there are.
There are, but
We run it like we did the other
Already tested.
but yeah, that's just
Cool.
all right. Want to come back at 10, and then we'll go into functional program versus object-oriented programming and run through some examples.
Okay, functional program versus object-oriented program. That's equal.